Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from Deltia's Gaming, and we're doing Best in Slot today with the tank setup. So what we got for you is Hist versus the new set, or Imperial City set, Armor Master. So what I'm using today is a 5-piece Footman's. I still think Footman's is a must-have for any tank today because just the increased block mitigation. So I'm using the old VR13 stuff with block cost reduction on an Imperial Templar tank. I haven't changed any of my passives in champion points, so I have no more physical resistance, no spell resistance changes because I'm playing a DPS setup regularly. So you're going to see just basically with the heavy armor passives and some other things what this looks like. So first we're going to go Hist is the old meta. Going to check that out, get beat on, see what my damage resistance is, and then we're going to check out something else, Armor Master. What's the difference? Should you invest in it, and why? So the old meta here is the old Hist Footman setup that pretty much everyone's been using since I think ESO patch 1.6. What this is the good old Footman's comes from Vet Dragonstar Arena, and it comes in VR14 for the Vet version. You can get gold rings, but it does not scale up to VR16 right now, which is an issue for some. And then also Hist does scale up to VR16, and what you get with this is basically the same buff for blocking. The major evasion, 20% chance to dodge. So while you're blocking, you're getting that buff. You can see in the bottom right corner of my screen, that buff icon comes up. So that's nice. The new setup is Armor Master, and what that does is it basically allows you to have more resistance, more max health, but you have to keep up a buff when you activate an armor ability. So typically everyone's going to use the medium armor ability. Shuffle. Why? Because that gives you the dodge chance that you're lacking with the Hist setup. So what I want to do is show you kind of what this looks like in terms of resistance, max health, and everything else. I'm using Tri-Stat Food for this. Like I said, I have no champion points into spell or physical resistance. So spell shield is 0. Where's old physical? Where's heavy armor? Nothing. So I have nothing into there. And one buff you're going to maintain on almost all tanks, you should anyways, is your major resistance buff. So for me, that is Channel Focus is the commonly referred to one, but I took Restoring for the extra healing. 5,000 physical, 5,000 spell resistance. So we're going to keep that up at all times. And let's check out what our resistance is. So with this says up, 26,000 spell resistance, 23,000 physical resistance. Now, I'm not playing a Breton. I'm not playing anything with other resistance, so I'm not going to get a bonus to that. And also, no champion points in there, just my major buffs is all you're looking at. Let's keep that back up. Get better focus. So, at VR14, the math was 33,000 is roughly the hard cap in resistance, meaning you're not getting any more benefit to continuing to stack resistance. So ideally tanks want to hit that hard cap in both physical and spell resistance of 33,000. It might be different now that it scales up to VR16, so hey, if you know in the comments, please let us know. But just so you know, I'm nowhere near that with Hist. Now I could change my Mundustone to get more health and more physical spell resistance and whatnot, but just so you know, that's what it looks like. So what we're going to do here is go to our little croc here and get our buffs up and just get beaten on. Now, I'm going to taunt it, but I'm not going to use anything else. So, I'm not going to use the Heroic Slash, which does less damage on the target. I just want to see what I get hit for consistently with physical damage. Now, remember, this is physical damage, this is not spell damage, so results may vary. Eating that 1.5. Now, let's get our channel focus down and see what the old guy does. And you see I'm getting that block chance, okay, or that evasion chance. So 1.3 is what I'm getting with channel focus down as the damage I'm taking. And roughly 90, almost 968 with this is physical attack. 1.3 and that big attack. So let's go ahead and reset them and show you the difference with Armor Master. Okay, now I have my Armor Master set up on. Same thing with champion points, no difference. And you can see the base stats here, 22 and 19,000. Now, watch the difference though. So you put your channel focus down. The one thing that's different is you have to keep your loot up. Now you're going to have to cast that about every 10 seconds, but you can see the absolute sheer amount of spell resistance and physical resistance I get with this setup. It's staggering. But you see it drop back down because I don't have major evasion casted. So when you look at Shuffle, it's a long duration, 23 seconds. But you're going to have to maintain that every 10 seconds to get the bonus for Armor Master. When you activate an armor spell, it gives you X amount of physical resistance for 10 seconds. So essentially what you're doing with this is you get a lot more stats, you get a lot more resistance, but you have to use stamina in order to cast this. So you're going to have to play your tank a little more stamina based or find a way to get a lot of stamina back. Because you're not regenerating stamina when you're holding block, and you're not getting it back with unless there's bodies with a Templar. Now Dragon Knights have Earth and Heart they can spam to get some resources back, but I don't. But the raw numbers are undeniable. Let's do it again. Bang. You're almost at a hard cap with no champion point investment into anything else. That's impressive. Plus I still have my 1054 set up and I have a lot more health. So let's see what it looks like when we're getting beat on and if the difference is actually noticeable. Remember, this is physical resistance, so spell resistance will be different. But just to give you an idea of what that much more mitigation looks like on a mob, on a target. Okay, so now we're going to taunt, channel focus, and shuffle. So those are the two buffs I want to maintain. And that attack hit me for 1.1k, whereas it was hitting me for, I think, 1.3 last time. I'm going to maintain my 3 buffs. And here we go. 1.1k. So that's quite actually a big that's a big difference if you're looking at, now if you're doing Sanctum Ophidia and you're tanking the last boss, every bit helps. And that extra physical resistance, what, 1.1 to 1.3, so do the math on that, that's actually quite a bit. So let's go ahead and reset them. So I think the answer is obvious based on what is the best for pure tanking. It's Armor Master, right? You get basically a static 5% more health. You get a lot more resistance by maintaining 1 extra buff. The thing about it is, Hist's easier. You just hold block and you get your major evasion. But with Armor Master coming out in Imperial City, it is the best in slot choice for a tank. Now, some people are pairing it with Pariah or Footmans or whatever way you go. I still like the Footman setup. But with this much more resistance, you're taking a lot less damage. You're getting a lot more health, though it's a little bit stamina taxing. So I think if you have a build centered around stamina tanking, and you can afford casting that ability every 10 seconds by using potions, Engine Guardian, maybe Blood Spawn, Ultimates, Earth and Heart, Repentance, whatever way you can, I think Armor Master is the best. Now you can also put Reinforce or Nirnhone on your traits. I went with Divine, so I'm going to practice doing something else. But that will give you those hard caps that you need without changing your Mundus Stone. So for me, I'm not a Breton, so I don't have physical resistance buffed or whatever. So what I would do is get my resistance with both my buffs up and see where I'm lacking. So physical resistance. And then what I would do with my armor is craft it reinforced on the heavy pieces to see if I can make up that difference. Turn it gold and bang, you're ready to tank anything in the game. So I hope this video helped you. I really appreciate the donations, guys. Thank you so much. It's helped out tremendously getting these best in slot videos up. So I think what we're going to do next, a lot of requests for Juliano's, Twiceborn Star, and Kragernak. So I think we're going to test that out in the next video. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. Best in slot. Get that Armor Master. It's worth it.